Anne Cassidy FRPS, what's it like to be on the contemporary panel?
Oh, it's a privilege to have been asked in the first place, but from a selfish point of view, it's absolutely fascinating because you see such variety of work and you never know what's going to come up next, and the subjects that people think about, it's just fascinating.
I'm intrigued. What sort of work do you see?
Oh, everything that people have concerns about or things that people want to explore and evaluate that's happening in our world today. It can be big issues like climate change, or it can be something small like what's happening in your own town, or some issues even in your own home or members of your family that you want to portray and look at and explore.
So would you define contemporary photography as defining an issue visually?
Yes, instead of telling a story in so many words or so many paragraphs or a short story, you're basically telling and exploring a short story through the lens.
How much higher than an L is an associate panel for contemporary?
It's quite a big jump because obviously at the L you're showing that your ability and technique, etc., and then you can handle different lenses and different lighting situations, etc. But in the associateship, it needs to be more the body of one photographer to have again, I go back to this story, to have a story element to it and to explore the subject that you've chosen. And it's one subject generally with a statement of intent which shows what you're planning to portray.
So you're looking for a photographic style. Does it have to look like it's all the work of one photographer?
Yes, really. It's basically you telling me your story. And every story has a beginning, a middle and an end, not necessarily in that order. What I like to see is you telling me as an applicant, tell me your story, what you want to tell me, and tell me with passion and with power that I want to look at it, and at the end of the day I'll be going home and thinking about your story. That's all part of it, so it needs to come from the heart.
So when you see a good one, does it sort of leap out at you when it goes on the wall?
Yes, but there's also good ones that are maybe quieter images, gentler images, sometimes small images that don't have to leap out at the wall. And when you're sitting at the assessment and you look at it overall as a body of work, and then when you go up to the board and see them, sometimes they're absolutely incredible with the amount of detail and story that's in them, which is fascinating.
What about your own photography? What do you do?
I tell stories.
Contemporary though?
Yes, contemporary stories that intrigue me sometimes over issues that irritate me, annoy me, or give me pleasure. And I like to tell that story.
Can you give us an example then? You told me your current project is sitting on your bottom.
Yes.
On pavements. Now, what's that all about?
Oh, I shouldn't be telling you, but I will. Seeing it's just you. I'm at the moment looking at homeless people, particularly in Dublin, and what I'm doing is I thought initially of approaching them, but I'm not doing it that way. I'm actually then sitting where they sat and experiencing what they're experiencing. Nobody's given me any money yet, though, or dropped me a few coins, but yeah, it's fascinating actually when you sit there long enough and you start to get cold and people just ignore you and all these feet passing, and it sort of lets you a little teeny momentarily insight into what people sitting on the street like that must go through.
So you're seeing life through their eyes, really?
Well, that's not really, because obviously you go home to your nice comfortable bed and that, and whereas they don't have that, but you're trying to a little bit see where they're coming from.
What would your advice be then to anyone who's thinking of putting in for a distinction in contemporary photography?
Oh, I say this to everybody. Photograph what you're passionate about. And if you photograph what really means a lot to you and what you're passionate about, you're halfway there, because you'll have the story in your heart, and it's then your main thing is getting it out technically and getting it correctly put together as a body of work, which is easy to do. If you have that passionate story, it's easier to tidy it up and present it.
And seek advice, go to the advisory day?
Oh yes, it's very important, because it doesn't matter how good your images are, it is important to know what the requirement is of the RPS and how to lay it out, etc., etc. It's always good to get advice, either one-to-one or an advisory day. I think they're invaluable.
Anne Cassidy, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.